Once again, awesome breaking news from Florida Bulldog. New evidence is revealed in the home of Omar Al Bayoumi that has been uncovered by Scotland Yard, which shows where it very well could be pre-planning for the 9/11 attacks. Something that Omar Al Bayoumi continues to deny. So let's get right to the article. Scotland Yard released once secret records from its 9/11 probe of Saudi spy Omar Al Bayoumi. A pile of new evidence released by Scotland Yard and filed under seal in federal court in New York includes an exhibit about a coded message found on a suspect's computer discussing an apparent terrorist test of airport security prior to 9/11. This is really big because this shows that there was pre-planning to 9/11. Coded message was among dozens of exhibits provided to attorneys representing thousands of 9/11 families and survivors who are suing Saudi Arabia, alleging the kingdom was complicit in the horrific September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on New York and Washington. The information was released on May 9th in response to a 2021 Freedom of Information request to the Royal Courts of Justice by lawyers for the family seeking evidence held by the London's Metropolitan Police Service, or the MPS, about Omar Al Bayoumi. Bayoumi, labeled a Saudi co-optee or spy by the FBI, was arrested in Birmingham, England, 10 days after the attacks, which killed nearly 3,000 people. He was later released. He and his family had moved from San Diego, California around July 2001 to almost 1.5 months prior to 9/11. At the time, Bayoumi went to England to attend Aston University. The new records, as others released previously by the MPS, includes materials seized during Bayoumi's arrest. I'm just going to blow this up just one more time. It's better for you to read, right? That includes a video he made during a pre-9/11 visit to Washington that we all saw with the 60 Minutes episode. The video purporting showing Bayoumi casing the Capitol was aired by 60 Minutes in April. The 67 new exhibits themselves are at least temporarily sealed under the terms of a court-approved protective order previously issued at the request of the FBI. But an attached schedule compiled by the MPS offers brief descriptions of each. It says the coded message was embedded in an image file found during a 2004 United Kingdom terrorism investigation called Operation Rhyme. That probe led to the arrest of alleged al-Qaeda operative Diarine Barrow and several other men. And we're going to get to this guy in a minute and why he was arrested and his links to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Barrow said by British authorities to have been handpicked by 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to commit sensational terrorist attacks in both the United States and the United Kingdom. Was later convicted of plotting to commit mass murder on a colossal and unprecedented scale, according to the Guardian newspaper. He was sentenced in 2007, 40 years in prison. When you click on the link, it shows here, and it's interesting. I want to show just this area. He planned back-to-back strikes, including packing limousines filled with explosives and detonating them in underground car parks using a radioactive dirty bomb in a proposed gas attack on the Heathrow Express. Edward Lawson, Queens County, told the court. Barrow also planned an additional attack, suggesting that a tube tunnel under the Thames could be punctured and allow water to flood into the London Underground network. Interesting to note, this is something that I once had in my head, because I'm always thinking of the worst things and how what a terrorist might do. That we had the same thing in Manhattan with the L train, where it goes under the Hudson River. You could kill everybody in the train, if that was ever to breach at any point, and do untold millions of dollars worth of damage. The MPS description says the digital message was found on a compact disc containing an image filed helicopters, PSP. It was recovered during a suspect's computer. Police know when viewed in a digital forensic software, the raw data of this image file has been found to contain a message conveyed via Steganography. That's called, I'm sorry, Steganography. The message reads, for your information, I have taken a knife and a bag on board prior to the World Trade Center attacks. Well, it doesn't say that. It says, I have taken a knife and a bag on board. There was no security checks whatsoever. Also, the perimeter fence that goes around the tarmac was not electrocuted. That is huge. This is the first time we're reading that there was a test, not just on the airplanes, which we knew for years. Thank you, Paul Thompson, DJ thermodetonator, right? The few of us who did the homework. But to the tarmac, which means that they didn't even need to work as airline security. It helped. But that they can climb over the fence and put weapons on board. I never thought of that. That's hella interesting. Unlike encrypted messages, Steganography conceals both a message contents and the fact that a message had been sent. A Wikipedia article explains in digital steganography, electronic communication may include steganography. I'm having a hard time saying this because my lousy New York accent. Coding inside a transport layer, such as a document file, image file, program, or protocol. Media files are ideal for steganographic transmissions because of their large size. For example, your sender might start with an innocuous image file and adjust the color of every 100th pixel to correspond to a letter in the alphabet. That's fucking amazing. The change is so subtle that someone who is not looking for it is unlikely to notice the change. Who wrote the message found on the unidentified suspect's compact disc and when and why they hit it was not released. But the MPS schedule, kind of a roadmap to the exhibit, says it was produced to the plaintiffs in disclosure under Operation Exchange as review of court documents establishes relevance to the investigation into 9/11 attacks. Operation Exchange refers to MPS's international law enforcement cooperation and information sharing efforts. Bayoumi has been a focus of intense FBI interest shortly after the 9/11 attacks. Why? He was one of the first people to meet the first 9/11 hijackers to enter the United States, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar. And in January 2000, he aided them in finding housing in San Diego, co-signing the lease, helping them open a bank account, along with Omar Al-Awlaki, and hosted a welcome party for them. Bayoumi, who lives in Saudi Arabia, has said he was unaware that Hazmi and Mihdhar, who were later aboard Flight 77 when it slammed the Pentagon, were terrorists. This is that guy, Diraim Barrow. The new MPS records includes various British police and court records, as well as seized correspondence, computer files, financial statements, videos, and other materials. The 17-page schedule of relevant material that describes the exhibits were prepared by David McGillicuddy, a detective superintendent with London's MPS. In a statement attached to the exhibits, McGillicuddy said they were all previously marked secret, but are no longer classified. Wonder if it's because of the date that it was to remain classified. They include 2 transcripts from the sentencing hearings of Barrow and his co-conspirators in 2006 and 2007. Another exhibit features 4 recordings recovered during Operation Rhyme. One labeled New York City camcorder video is an hour and 20 minutes long. Wow. What the fuck were they looking at? The others are a half-hour History Channel program, The Stock Exchange, 24 minutes of anti-capitalist programs, and a 5-minute clip of excerpts from Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yes, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Why Die Hard with a Vengeance? Right? Why this film? Yeah, it's interesting. I like this film. I'm not a big fan of the Die Hard series, even though they're good films. But, it's like that classical Hollywood, um, action film. I like a good storyline. Although, the Die Hard series is a good series. I recommend watching. Exhibit C's at Bayoumi's home and garage at 34 Demogue Street in Birmingham include A World Trade Center brochure with a cover page logo for the World Trade Center Association San Diego, along with pages containing printed and handwritten notes, forms, names, addresses, and correspondence in English and Arabic. I wonder what the fuck, whose names are on there. That's going to be huge. A World Trade Center brochure. You think that's ironic? You know, folks, I don't believe in hijackers. It's a 9/11 truth movement I'm making fun of. A ring binder containing Saudi Arabian bank statements, Bayoumi account from January 1st of 2001 to September 2nd, 2001, 9 days before 9, bank statements. Payments from Dow Avco. He's a ghost employee. Bayoumi's telephone book and electronic list of contacts found on floppy disks in the garage. Probably from Fahad Al-Damari, Osama Basnan, Anwar al-Awlaki, Khalid Ahmad Wapahadmi. Bayoumi's correspondence, notes, travel records, and camera film. He's got a lot of shit, man. Jeez. Interviews with Bayoumi, his wife, Manal Bagadar, and others. Forensic digitized image copied from a Philips hard drive that was found in Bayoumi's home and other storage devices. This guy's got a lot of shit, man. Yeah. And I'm sure it's not all based in San Diego and Los Angeles. I want to see that 1 hour, 20-minute fucking video. This is a lot of shit. And you wonder what the intelligence services have. This is what this one fucking guy got. You wonder what the NSA has. Shit, what the CIA has. What the Israelis and Saudis have. Fuck. The whole blueprint. If anything, I don't know. They may not have nothing. So you got to play it that way if you're honest, okay? But I'm willing to bet the Saudis and Israelis have a lot. I'm talking specifics. They deal with signals intelligence, listening, right? Reading transcripts from emails, text messages. God knows what the fuck they got. I'm happy to think that the Israelis who were, spying on the FBI and the DEA and Secret Service, government institutions, Southwest Laboratories, and living next door to all these hijackers. Come on, brother. What do you think they fucking got, man? The Saudis. I mean, this is just one guy. Look what he's got. Although, this all could be innocuous bullshit. Other intriguing exhibits include correspondence and reports from the FBI to MPS. They include a September 17, 2001 FBI letter stating that Bayoumi may have been involved or had prior knowledge of 9/11 attacks. And why was this hidden from the families for 20 years? And includes a summary of his links to Al-Hadmi and Al-Midar. Also, a letter to the FBI sent a day later transmitting information for use when MPS detectives interviewed him. All this was hidden from the 9/11 victims' families for 20 years. Why? Why? Why, Department of Justice? There are also FBI action requests from early October 2001 that the MPS research Bayoumi's flights with Egypt Air and travel to Cairo and his flights with British Airways. 3 exhibits immediately following these requests are a typed document showing British Airways passenger records for Al Bayoumi flights in May of 2000. Exhibits compiled by the MPS detailing Bayoumi's travel movements and another report including Bayoumi's plans to travel to Paris, France. Additional exhibits include a January 14, 2002 letter to the FBI transmitting a report on Al Bayoumi telephone investigation, an April 18, 2002 FBI letter asking MPS to review affidavit regarding investigations into Al Bayoumi and Barzanji, no first name included, and an October 8, 2002 FBI letter attaching summary of Operation Exchange investigation into Bayoumi. So that means the international law enforcement was looking into Al Bayoumi. Remember, the CIA had an open file on Bayoumi in the 90s. May not be nothing. May not have anything in it really, but it just so happens that this guy is known to a lot of interesting agencies. And soon enough, when Judge George Daniels from the Southern District of New York, who has not made his decision on whether FBI information will be declassified in the civil suit case against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by law firms Creedle, Motley Rice, and others. So we're waiting on that. And once that decision is made, and hopefully Daniels agrees, then this information is going to be made public. And I like to know what's on those hard drives, what's on those transcripts, what's in those phone books, the phone books that Bayoumi had, and those numbers, and who's is he calling, and what's on that video for an hour and 20 minutes. There's a lot of data here. And big thanks to Dan Christensen. The guy's doing the Lord's work regarding how he's the best in the country currently regarding the latest investigation into 9/11 against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, bar none. Great work by Robin Swan. Great work, Anthony Summers and Dan Christensen. And we owe you a debt of thanks. And I'll be sharing the link to the article in the description below. And again, as always, if there's any breaking news about 9/11, I'll report it here to you first, because information is power, and power belongs in the hands of the people. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Take care, everybody.